Here we go. Welcome, Average Joe Nation from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. With fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these three guys have, man, it is insane. Yeah, fantasy football talk hateful eight, they wear the crown. Hold it down. Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to the recording studio, we're getting loud. Getting ready, headphones on, red light, go, break it down.
Welcome back to the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast. With your host, I'm Pickle, and with me as always, Blackburn.
What's up, guys?
Like we said on the previous show, Trimboli's out for the week, so we'll be carrying on just the two of us. Just the two of us this week. That was you and I. My bad. Boss, that's so bad. Anyways, so this is the good, the bad, the ugly. Week 2 is the main segment for today. You can follow us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. We are on the podcast side of things, all the major platforms, YouTube, as well as DATV for the local Dayton listeners and viewers. 10:30s, not just one of them, but 10:30 p.m. on Friday and then 4 p.m. on Sunday. So a lot riding on this week for some underperformers from last week.
Absolutely.
I think people are going to start hitting the panic button if another big name guy, as they say, poops the bed. So not a good setup for this week. So a lot of better matchups, in my opinion, for key players.
Well, at least now we got somewhat of an idea of what we're looking at here.
This is true.
We went in blind last week.
We did. It was never a good idea, but sometimes you got to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything before we need to get into this. I think that's all we got.
Yeah, we're just going to jump right in it.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the good, the bad, and the ugly.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right, the good, the bad, the ugly, presented by Trophy Smack. 1,000 different trophy combinations. Not to mention that they have the fantasy championship rings, fantasy championship belts. And if you head over to TrophySmack.com and purchase a trophy, you can use the promo code TH8FF-RING, all caps, and it'll get you a free championship ring with the purchase of your trophy.
That's a good deal. You need to go do that.
Yeah, and when I say 1,000 different combinations, I literally mean like the pillars, colors, to the topper, to the base of like the trophy, how many years you want. I mean, engravings. They've maxed out the possibilities for this trophy. So. For this week, the good is Trimboli, the bad is Blackburn, and I am the ugly, unfortunately. So, right, we'll try to make it through this since it's just the two of us on this episode as well. But we do have Trimboli's notes, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll be good.
So the good in this first game, it's going to be what, the 49ers?
49ers and the Bengals.
The Bengals.
Yeah. The good for this one, Matt Breida. Mainly because Tevin Coleman is out. So I think Matt Breida is going to get the bulk of the carries. But Bengals defense couldn't stop the run with Coleman out last week. They're not going to be able to stop the run with Seattle.
Right.
Carson, did a good number on him. But
yeah.
Coleman's out. Breida should see the bulk of the carries. We think he's going to have double-digit points this week because he's probably going to see some pass opportunities as well.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I don't know. This Bengals offense surprised me.
It did surprise me up in Seattle because usually teams don't play well up there.
Now, I know it was a Sunday afternoon game versus a Sunday night game or a Monday night game, but still going into Seattle and doing what they did offensively and getting punched in the mouth a few times and not backing down, I think that was a good thing for this young coach as well as this young team in general.
Well, the thing that surprised me about the Bengals the most is the offensive line kind of held up.
It gelled. I mean, and they were going against some serious – I mean, they were going against Clowney. They had Bobby Wagner,
Sheldon
KJ Wright.
Yeah.
All these guys were going in, and they were sending blitzes, and they were picking them up.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, there was only a few times that Dalton actually got hit. And to me, that's a good sign for this offensive line that was basically kind of cookie-cutting it, putting it together.
Well, we'll get back to the Bengals later, but right now, if you got Matt Breida – you start him this week.
Oh yeah, most definitely. He's got a great matchup, and I think that he's going to have plenty of opportunities. So, who is the bad in this game?
I got you could pick. You know what? I'm giving out two bads this week. You can take your pick. Dante Pettis and Marquise Goodwin.
So the wide receivers essentially for the 49ers.
Basically, yes. Okay. Last week, 2 catches between both of them for 14 yards. Ooh. We said that game was sloppy in the last show.
Yeah.
And we weren't lying. Okay.
No.
The passing game does look suspect. I know Kittle had a couple touchdowns, I think, called back.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think pass catching to the running backs is going to be the bright spot on this team this week.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting because I think the Bengals defense surprised people as well, and they were a lot better than they were. I mean, Tyler Lockett I think he only had like 2 targets, and one of them was for a touchdown. So I'm just saying, I think that, and Russell Wilson was trying to throw the ball, so they abandoned it, realized that they weren't getting anywhere, so they just ran the ball a ton, and I think that plays into the Matt Breida part. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that this Bengals defense might be underwhelming, like under radar good, surprisingly enough.
Well, I don't know. The Bengals offense kind of looked like they took a step forward, and I know everybody's going to say, "Oh, it's the Sean McVay tree or whatever,"
Right.
But John Ross, he looked pretty good.
Right, and that kind of rolls into my ugly in this one. And it's not because I think that John Ross is not a good player or isn't going to play well. It's because you're not.
It's boomer bust.
It's a boomer bust, and that's why I put it as an ugly.
Yeah.
So he blew up last week. I mean, he was literally the number 1 wide receiver essentially in that offense.
Yeah.
So, and there is still no A.J. Green. So I'm looking at John Ross as a high-end wide receiver, probably in that wide receiver 2 range. So I'm saying somewhere in that like maybe 15 to 17, 18 range this week. And I'm looking at double-digit fantasy points again this week.
I think so too.
I think they're going to feed him early and often and try to get down the field as much as they can. So I just think that we're looking at a pretty good opportunity for John Ross again this week without A.J. Green. So
I think as soon as A.J. Green comes back, it's going to favor Tyler Boyd more.
Right, and I think that's what we're seeing. And that's what we saw last year with Tyler Boyd kind of taking the role. Number 1, he kind of disappeared.
Well, if Ross can keep up his play, you got Green and Ross on the outside, and you got Boyd to run free in the middle in the slot.
Right.
That would be awesome.
So, all right. So, and then the next game is the, Chargers?
Chargers and Lions.
Ooh, that's going to be an interesting one.
So we'll go ahead and go with the good here.
Yeah.
And surprise, surprise, Austin Eckler. Gordon did not do himself any favors last week by not signing because
Would you say it was very Le'Veon Bell-esque? With
I
James
think
Conner?
it was worse.
Ooh.
I mean, he basically put himself in a corner saying, "Hey, you guys can't do nothing without me," and Eckler just goes out there and throws up 39 points.
This is true.
He received 12 carries and was targeted 7 times in passing game. His volume, like we talked about last show, Mike Williams dealing with a knee issue, uncertain if he'll play this week. Hunter Henry gone 4 to 6 weeks. So basically, you got Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
That's your guys.
Yeah.
The volume is there.
Yeah, most definitely. I like this play, and you probably drafted Austin Eckler in that probably 6th to 7th round range because you may have been a Melvin Gordon owner, or you may wanted to kind of put that Melvin Gordon draft guy in a box and kind of handcuff him a little bit.
Well, if you were smart and you got Melvin Gordon in the 5th, 4th, whatever you got him in, you picked Eckler up later as the handcuff.
All right, so who's the bad in this one?
I'm going with Kerryon Johnson.
Oh.
He disappointed me last week. The matchup is favorable. Chargers right now, I mean, I know it's only week 1, but they're 27th against the run. I get that. But here's the key. It was a near 50-50 split with C.J. Anderson.
Yeah.
13-11 in favor of Johnson. And I don't like them saying that C.J. Anderson was the primary goal line back.
Yeah.
That makes Kerryon, he's touchdown dependent now.
Yeah.
And we don't like it, especially where you drafted him in the 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah. For me, the biggest thing when we're looking at that, Kerryon Johnson, because I initially had him as my ugly, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, you know what? Because I think the only reason why I had him in there initially was the Chargers have a good defense. They're going to put pressure on the offense, and the Chargers' offense is actually running on all cylinders, so they're probably going to be scoring at will. Because the Lions' defense isn't very good.
No.
So my thing, I was looking at it from a PPR standpoint, the thing of like garbage time with Kerryon Johnson, because they're probably going to be behind. But I transitioned into T.J. Hawkinson.
I like that a lot.
The only reason why I put it as ugly is because his name is not an upper echelon safe tight end that you're like week in and week out right now that you're like, okay, we're good. Well, 8 to 9 points. But he balled out.
Well, he was an unknown, like most of these rookies.
Yeah.
And we don't know if it was week 1 rust or what, but he looked good.
Right, and we talked about it all off season that typically rookie tight ends do not do well. It was Evan Ingram and Gronk are like the last 2 that's actually been successful their rookie year. To me, T.J. Hawkinson might be the next one in line because he played counterpart to his Iowa teammate Noah Fant. Hawkinson was the tight end to have out of the rookies.
Broncos' offense was pretty much non-existent to the fourth quarter anyway.
That is also true. So I'm just saying, to me, T.J. Hawkinson is the one that I like in this one in the ugly, and I think he's a perfect tight end play that you can put him in your tight end spot and just be like, you know what? His floor is probably 5 fantasy points, but I think his ceiling is up in that 12 fantasy points this week.
I'm on board with that.
So I think they're going to have to pass the ball a ton.
I think
in this
they're
game.
going to be having to pass too, which doesn't favor carry on.
No. So Galladay did well. Marvin Jones, I think, will be more involved. I think Kerryon Johnson's main thing will be receptions and probably some sort of red zone opportunities, but I don't know what we're going to see out of that whole offense.
And with these bad, I'm not telling you not to start these guys because you're probably going to start them where you drafted them.
Caution.
Just don't expect a huge game.
No. All right, so then we move into, what is it?
Vikings-Packers.
Ooh, Vikings and Packers. So the good in this one, Aaron Jones. He says his matchup, this week's a lot better than last week. Obviously, against the Bears was a bad matchup for anybody. And I just think that the Vikings are going to give up some serious points this week.
I
think he's put in the context he thinks the Packers are going to be back to normal.
I would hope so, but Minnesota's got a tough defense. They held Devonta Freeman to 5 points.
Right. So my thing is, and this is what I'm looking at it from his standpoint, the positive I can think of is that you're looking at it that the Packers defense is going to try to shut down the run and make Kirk Cousins throw the ball more than 10 times. And I'll be honest with you, the Packers defense did give, I know it's Mitchell Trubisky, take it for what it's worth, but they gave him fits.
Yeah.
And they gave him different looks that he couldn't find the hole in the zone. And then when they'd switch to man and he never recognized it. And I think that's a little bit between youth versus veteran. But Kirk Cousins only thrown the ball 10 times last week was a concern to me.
That's hot garbage.
It's
bad.
bad.
What that is.
It's very bad.
And that leads me into my bad. And I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
I love Stephon Diggs, great player, but he had a lingering issue. I think it's going to hamper his production a little bit. And like we talked about, Kirk Cousins only threw 10 passes the whole game.
Right.
That's not going to get it done. And to put that in retrospect, Jamison Crowder had 17 targets and caught 14 of them.
Yeah.
That's more than Kirk Cousins threw
in
the whole game. So that's not going to get it done. Like you said, Packers' defense did look good. I don't think they're going to be able to sit there and try to run the ball.
Right.
With Dalvin Cook all game, they're gonna have to have Cousins throw the ball.
Right, and that's that's where I kind of roll in as well. And I think that in the pass game for the Packers, I think MVS is going to be a big one this week.
Yeah.
I know he's not Devontae Adams, and that's why I put him in the ugly. So for that, the ugly is just it's a guy that the name is not really appealing because it's maybe not the main guy in the offense, but they're going to gift you a steady diet of points. And
he had a ton of targets last week.
That's my thing. He's not Devontae Adams, and Devontae Adams is probably going to be covered by Xavier Rhodes.
Exactly.
So,
but you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Devontae Adams when he was the number 2 and Jordy Nelson was the number 1.
That's why I put MVS in there. I think this is the next wide receiver 2 guy coming in and being fantasy relevant week in and week out. And we said it was going to take – we were going to have to wait till probably close to the season to find out if it was Geronimo Allison or MVS. And I think MVS is the guy. He's big. He's a physical wide receiver.
Geronimo Allison threw up a big goose egg.
True. So I just think we're looking at another opportunity for MVS to be a fantasy relevant guy. And it would not surprise me if he scores double-digit fantasy points
I'm
this
on
week.
board with MVS.
I mean, it might be 30, 40 yards and a touchdown. It may be 50, 60 yards and a touchdown. Or it may be 40, 50 in a PPR setting, 30, 40 yards with 5 or 6 receptions. I mean, you don't know.
If anything, I think it's going to be a high number of catches.
Oh, yeah. So I think Xavier Rhodes is going to shut down Devontae Adams, or at least attempt to as much as he can.
It'll be tough sledding for Devontae.
So, all right. And then we're looking at the next game, the Colts at the Titans. I think this is going to be an interesting game because I think the Titans have a little momentum, a little chip on their shoulder.
Momentum. They pretty much steamrolled Cleveland.
And it's a divisional game.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Colts looked actually pretty good. Even with Jacoby Brissett struggled initially, but once he got in a rhythm, that offense was looking good and made a really big push to make it a close game.
You know who looked really good?
Oh
yeah.
Return of the Man. Where's that?
We love that.
Where's it? Do I have it? There it is. We told you all off season this was it. This was the year. And with Andrew Luck being removed via retirement, we knew that was an increase. You knew that was going to be a safe check down guy.
Well, I'll admit, when Andrew Luck retired, I was a little bit worried about Mack. But after watching this, they gave Brissett that money, and Marlon Mack produced.
Yeah. Let's see here. He's got fed the ball early and often for a total of 25 carries. That is a lot for a non-starting running back for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, I think this is what they're going to rely on.
Then they should. Brissett, he's a game manager. He's not going to beat you with his arm, but when you got weapons like Mack like that and T.Y. Hilton got involved, I mean, he can get it done.
I mean, the tight ends even got involved at times. I mean, the wide receivers, 2s and 3s. I mean, Funchess is not going to be playing this week, so Paris Campbell, Deion Kane's going to be now in the mix.
He's out for the year, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he got. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he's.
I think I read he's out for the year.
So I just think that Marlon Mack is going to be heavily relied upon, and Trimboli believes that he is right on that RB1, RB2 border, that 12 to 13 range.
I'm with him on that.
So I just think he's got that upside, and I think we told you all off season, and people got fading on him. I'm like, take him in the 5th, 6th round. Be happy because you're going to have an RB2 for the year, and possibly some weeks of RB1.
And most people are putting him in their flex.
Right. So I like it, and I think he's a high upside guy again this week versus the Titans. So
I like it.
Who's the bad in this one for you?
Oh man, wide receiver Corey Davis is the bad. He had 3 targets in week 1. Guess how many points he had?
Goose egg.
Oh yeah, big time. He dropped a hard goose egg. You know what I call that? Hot garbage is what I call it.
Gosh.
A.J. Brown stole the show.
Yeah.
Another rookie that stole the show. And Delanie Walker.
Ooh, old man Walker coming through. We told you.
Took big time targets away and got 2 touchdowns.
Told you it was the healthiest he'd been all in his career. He was coming off feeling great. Felt like he had lost some weight, got some muscle back on, feeling young and springy, he said.
He looked like it.
And he looked like it. And he looked like a man on a mission to prove that he still has it.
The whole Tennessee Titans actually look good. Derrick Henry busting off an 80-yard screen for a touchdown, untouched.
All right. I mean, I told you that my concern was Marcus Mariota, and he actually looked good. I mean, not great, but he looked manageable.
Well, if you look, he really wasn't chucking the ball downfield. It was all short to mid-range, and it was run after the catch.
Dink and dunk. Yeah. Magically, you put a quarterback that really never chucked the ball in college and tell him to go chuck the ball. You do what he did in college. A lot of his plays at Oregon were dink and dunk. It was like chunk, and it was a lot of short, fast receivers, yards after the catch. So why not do that? Hand the ball off to that monster, that Sasquatch in the back 20 sometimes, and then throw the ball to Delanie Walker or whoever else you need to go to.
But that offense does not fit what Corey Davis is a stretch the field guy, and they're just not set up for that.
No, and I think this is what we're going to see all year with Corey Davis, but
that's why he's my bad.
Yeah. For me, the ugly in this one, to piggyback off, A.J. Brown. I think he's the one to have in this. If you're going to take somebody receiver-wise in this offense, I think A.J. Brown's got enough upside that the volume, the targets are there. I mean, and I think he's got enough athletic ability, surprisingly enough, that he has gelled well with the type of style of play. I think this offense is going to want the chunks down the field and like dink and dunk all the way down. He's got the route running ability. He's got the hands, and he's got the physicality to knock somebody down and take off running still.
I mean, I'm not going to jump on the Titans bandwagon now, but dink and dunk passing game, move the chains.
Ask Brady and them how that works.
Hard-nosed run game, and good defense. That's a good recipe right there. For
you have variable. Vrabel's got that defense ready to go. Surprisingly enough, I knew that they had a decent defense. I just didn't know how deep they were at the corners and everything. But they put the Browns in check. I mean, and they owned them early and often.
3 picks by that Baker guy.
I mean, yeah, it just was a bad day. But so I just have A.J. Brown on this, and I think he has got 8 to 10 fantasy points upside this week, just because I think volume is going to be key for him, and I think the Colts are going to try to score and score often.
Yeah.
So, and the Colts have a good defense as well.
They do.
So I think could be a low-scoring game. So I think this is going to be a lot of dink and dunk down the field for me. So, and then the next one is the Patriots at the. We've already cashed in
the
for
high school
Tua.
Team? Oh, it is a pro team.
No, it's the JV team. It's not even a high school team. Patriots at Dolphins. So it's in Miami. It doesn't matter where it's at. No, it doesn't. It's who they're playing against. So the good for this one for him was Sony Michel. He said Dolphins are in quote hot garbage, and gave up a total of 265 rushing yards to the Ravens, and most of them wasn't even Lamar Jackson.
Right.
It was Mark Ingram blowing up. So, and he said he expects Michel to have a big day this week.
I do too, because I think the Patriots are going to be up so early that they're just going to run.
Oh yeah,
and run the clock out.
I mean, I think it's just going to be early and often. This offense is just going to be humming. So,
my bad. All Dolphins, and I mean all of them. New England, look, we know what New England does. They scheme to take your best players out. Look what they did to Pittsburgh last week with Connor and Juju.
And that was, I would say, with talent on the team.
Exactly.
It's not hard to skim out like non-talented players off of a non-talented
Right.
team.
You sent one of your best receivers off for a first-round pick. You sent your left tackle. You sent Kiko Alonso on your defense. This game's going to be ugly. They made Pittsburgh look silly. I don't think Dolphins even stand a chance. They might not even score.
They may not.
They held Pittsburgh to 3 points.
Okay, the Ravens put 59 on them.
Exactly.
What do you? I mean, now I'm not saying the Patriots are going to go out and put 60
They're
on
not
them.
going to run a score, but it's going to be ugly when the starters are in. I think Antonio Brown's going to go nuts. I think Edelman's going to go nuts. Sony Michel's going to have a big game. I mean, if you got Patriots offensive players,
Play
Josh
'em.
Gordon, you better play them.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think one of the wide receivers, and I don't know who it'll be this week, but one of them is going to have 2 touchdowns. Whether it's Antonio Brown, Edelman, maybe even Josh Gordon, somebody in that wide receiver group is going to have 2 touchdowns. I'm just telling you right now, they're going to have it, and I just don't know which one it's going to be.
Right. If you got Tom Brady, he's a must start. He might be start of the week.
Ooh-wee. That's a good one. Now, who's the bad in this one? You said was the Dolphins.
All Dolphins players. I'm not playing.
No specific
I'm not
ones.
playing the running back Drake. I'm not playing anybody.
All right. Now, I did put the ugly in this one, and I put Kenyon Drake only because if you had to, because you can't put any of the Patriots in the ugly in this column because they're all
Absolutely
good.
not. Even the
So-
defense.
Right. So for the ugly for this one, I put Kenyon Drake, and it's only because of volume, and they're going to be playing from behind,
Well,
and that's literally it.
They're going to be under pressure, and yeah, check down is what's going to happen.
I mean, I'm not giving you a ton of points. I'm figuring somewhere around 8 to 10 fantasy points, and I think
Maybe.
that's being generous.
That is generous because Connor only had like 12.
Right. And I just think that this offense is going to be playing from behind, and check down is what it's going to end up
That's
being.
what I think too.
So, and then the next game is the Bills at the Giants. I think this could be an interesting game for the Bills, not for the Giants. I'm not too keen on the Giants in this one.
I don't know yet. I'm too early on the Bills.
All right, so Trimboli's got the good with Josh Allen. The Bills running game obviously is a mess. Even though Devin Singletary was a bright spot,
He looked good for limited play.
but as we all know, the Giants secondary is average at best, and Josh Allen is going to take that and chuck that ball, and I think that's going to play well into a guy named John Brown's hands.
Absolutely. Free agent pickup of the year.
Right. How about I mean, look, how many Cowboys caught passes, touchdowns? I mean, they were all getting involved. It wasn't just Amari Cooper, or it wasn't just
No, it
Michael
was Cobb,
Gallup.
it was all of them.
All of them, including Jason Witten. So I'm just telling you, I agree. I think Josh Allen's got a high upside. I'm not saying he's going to get 30-some fantasy points like Dak Prescott did, but I think that a 20-point range, 20-25 range is comfortable for Josh Allen.
Absolutely.
So I think this is a good matchup for him against a underperforming defense again. So
Yeah. My bad for this one is any Giants wide receiver. I'm serious. I'm not.
I know.
Golden Tate still suspended. Sterling Shepard is in concussion protocol right now. So you're looking at Latimer and I don't even know who the other guy is. Another Shepard. I think Russell Shepard. Is that who it is?
I don't know.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
It's Evan Ingram and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
That's who's going to be catching most of the passes. Buffalo does have a sneaky good defense, so it might be a long day for the Giants.
Right. Now, I'm not saying that you should expect Evan Ingram or Saquon Barkley to not play well, but I'm just saying it's going to be a lot of garbage time and a lot of dink and dunks. I don't think it's going to be any big plays.
No, Tre'Davious White's going to be on whoever their best wide receiver is.
Right.
And we don't know if Shepard's playing yet. He's
True.
still in protocol.
Now, for me, the ugly in this one is Devin Singletary, and that's because he saw the volume. He saw the volume over Gore. He saw the red zone opportunities. He saw the pass catching opportunities from the backfield. Dude played a ton.
He did the most with what he had, yeah.
Right. So I just think that they're going to increase him this week, and I think this is going to be the start of the next running back for Buffalo.
Well, yeah, Gore's listed as the starter right now, but I think Singletary's going to overtake him.
And I think in a PPR setting, I think he's got so much upside.
Absolutely.
He's a flex play. I mean, he might be an RB2 for the week, but he's a comfortable flex in your roster.
Yep.
So that's who my ugly is. And it's only ugly because he's not a big name yet. He's a rookie.
We're
he's
still watching.
He's an under the radar guy that could potentially blow up into being like a Philip Lindsay last year, where it's kind of slow and steady and gets somewhere. I think a lot of these rookies are going to kind of be slow and steady at the beginning, and then they're going to blow up eventually, and it's just going to take off.
It just worries me because now a lot of teams are doing the committee approach, and they do got Gore, who's a beast still, and
Yeah.
T.J. Yeldon.
Yeah.
But I agree. Singletary's going to be the guy before long.
Right. All right. And then Seahawks at the Steelers. This could be a good game. I think this is a motivational game for the Steelers.
I think Steelers are going to rebound a little bit on this one.
I think so too, but I think the Seahawks, now it is on the road, I think they've got something to prove in the passing game.
Well, they do. But
So,
we'll get into that. Go ahead. Who's the good?
Big Ben, he says.
I agree.
Bounce back week. Secondary against the Seahawks got torched by Andy Dalton, which that should speak volumes.
In Seattle.
In Seattle. And as we all know, Big Ben splits at home is always on fire.
Dude,
He is lights out.
They do play lights out at Pittsburgh.
So Big Ben's the big one. And so set him in your roster as your quarterback. Set it and forget it, as they said. So
Yes.
who is the bad in this game, though?
I'm not saying don't play him because you are, okay? But it's James Conner.
Yeah.
I know it's not popular, but New England held him to just 21 yards on 10 carries.
Yeah, and they're not a run stopping defense.
No, that's what I'm saying. Seattle's defensive line's much better.
Oh yeah.
So I just think it's going to be another low-scoring output from Connor. If he is going to get you any big points, unless he breaks one off, it's going to be in the passing game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is and I'm not saying this is a concerning situation yet for Connor. I think this offense is still trying to find its identity.
Yeah, it's hard. Look, we told everybody, you're not just going to put Juju in Antonio Brown's spot and things are going to just go on business as usual.
Right.
It's going to take time.
Right. Well, we last year saw the transition. We had Antonio Brown and Juju, and Connor was blowing it up because they have two good wide receivers for coverage purposes.
Yes.
Now they only have their back to really one. James Washington isn't a bad receiver, but he's not going to garner enough attention like Juju has last year or
Neither is
Antonio Brown.
Moncrief.
So, to me, I think now you've got Juju, and then the coverage is now also going to dictate to Connor. So, they're going to take away those as much as they can, as often as they can. So, team-wise, I just think that Connor is a special talent. I think he's got to be able to get in a groove and know that he's going to see different looks now that there isn't Antonio Brown and Juju out there.
It's hard to come out of the gate playing against New England and Seattle.
Well, let's be honest. Belichick had all season to game and script against you.
Well, he does that to everybody. Ask
Right.
the Rams. They blew through everybody in the NFC last year. Was high octane offense,
Yeah.
and they get to the Super Bowl and dud it out.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I think this is. I mean, you're probably going to play him, but you're not going to feel good. Now he may blow up, and that would be fine. But I'm just saying, I would temper your expectations again this week.
I'm not excited for that one.
No. I just drew a blank where I was at.
You're ugly.
The ugly in this one. Oh,
Not you, but
right. I know. I'm not. but anyways, Vance McDonald. I think he has a bounce back week this week. I know it's not the prettiest thing against that defense, but like we said, with Big Ben at home, he's going to have to throw the ball to somebody outside of Juju.
Yeah.
And James Conner is struggling. I think that this pressure from this defense is going to be in his face early and often, and I think he's not going to be able the time to chuck this ball down the field all the time.
it's a tough matchup with those linebackers.
Right.
But he's athletic enough to do that.
Right. So I think Vance McDonald's mine, and I'm not saying that I'm banking on him having 12 to 15 fantasy points. I'm saying in an 8 to 9 range, I think, and that's a comfortable. If you can get 8 to 9 fantasy points from your tight end, not named Kelsey or Ertz that you drafted probably in the first 4 rounds,
Or Kittle.
you can be okay with an 8 to 9 point performance weekly.
Vance McDonald got you 6 points in 90 seconds.
Yes. So if he's even given any more opportunity, he's going to be close to that double digits points. So I like him in this one, and I think he's got enough upside to do what he needs to do. So
I like that one too.
all right, now this one's going to be interesting. Cardinals at the Ravens. So this is in Baltimore.
It's going to be ugly.
It's going to get ugly, and I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out. Trimboli's good in this one. Mark Andrews obviously led all the receiving options with 8 targets, and he was the tight end. So I just think the tight end has shown success against the Cardinals' defense over the years, and the defense has not gotten better.
Well, all offseason, they raved about Mark Andrews, and they said he was going to have a big role.
Right. And T.J. Hawkinson blew up against the Cardinals last week. That's the big thing. So
Yep.
I just think that this pairs well with Lamar Jackson. Is what has he put in there as well. So
Security blanket.
right. So I just think that this is a good matchup for Mark Andrews again, and he was a late round pick for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
undrafted in some leagues that I saw.
A lot of leagues. My ugly for this game, or my bad, is quarterback Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
He had 54 passing attempts against Detroit. 54. They only had 53 yards of offense in the first half,
Yeah.
but tore it up in the second half, forced overtime, whatever. It was Detroit, but now they're on the road against Baltimore. That's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
Baltimore's defense is going to be ready. I think points are going to be at a premium for the Cardinals this week. and I like Baltimore heavy.
Right. I agree with
They're
you.
going to be after Kyler.
Yeah, because I initially, when I was going through my notes, I was thinking maybe I could put Kyler in there, but I'm like, you know what? I just think that it's not sustainable. This whole like garbage time every week is not what you want with a quarterback every week.
No, when you start, okay, I put that. They played Detroit at home.
Mm-hmm.
You go on the road.
Not a bad defense.
You go on the
It was
road.
a bad defense, I should say.
Yeah. Oh man! Breaking news here.
Oh yeah, what's this one?
Jets head coach Adam Gase tells reporters that quarterback Sam Darnold will miss Monday night's game with mono.
Oh no!
And that's unexpected.
So who's the backup in that offense? It's
no
not what's his face anymore because he's retired. McCown's left.
Yeah.
All right. So as you're doing that, I'm going to continue on. I just think that the defense is going to be better than what they saw against Detroit, obviously. But for me in this game, Brown, the wide receiver,
Yeah.
is
Hollywood?
Hollywood Brown is the big one. I think you're going to ugly for me, and I think that they're going to be pushing this ball down the field, and they don't have a good secondary. Their best secondary player is out with Patrick Peterson. So
Yes.
and you saw Galladay blew it up. I just think that Hollywood Brown's going to be able to, and he's got the speed, the athletic ability to just take the top off. And if Lamar Jackson has any time, he's shown he doesn't care to just flick the wrist and let it ride out there. So
Right.
I just think that's what we're looking at. And I think for me, that's the big one. Hollywood Brown's another good play this week, and it's a good matchup for him. So 10 fantasy points, I think, is a comfortable spot for him.
The backup quarterback for the Jets is Trevor Siemian. So if you got Jamison Crowder this week and you're looking for big things, look somewhere else.
Temper your expectations. But Le'Veon Bell, though, booming.
Le'Veon Bell's going to see a lot of check down opportunity and running.
Boom. Yeah, so that's for me. The ugly in this one is Hollywood Brown.
Yeah,
I think that's a
absolutely.
good one for this week. So, all right, and then next one, Jaguars at the Texans. The good in this one for him is Will Fuller. As he put in here, the Chiefs got exposed last week by the Jaguars, and that's not a good offense.
No.
And I just think, as he pointed, he just thinks the theme's going to continue this week with the Jaguars and the Texans. I just think, as he put in here, Will Fuller, he expects him to cash in on a couple long passes. I mean, Watson looked great out there. Even though he was taking shots,
Man.
he still was just throwing it for days.
For getting rid of first-round picks for Tunsil, he's getting blasted a lot. That would worry me. Plus, he's diving all over the place, trying to score touchdowns, hurting his back.
Yeah.
That worried me, too, when he went to that 10 a couple times.
Yeah, I agree. So for me, and I think, as Tremboya put it, the Will Fuller being his good, I think he's expecting a big touchdown, one or two big plays with a touchdown attached to one of those.
Well, you figure Ramsey's going to be on
Right.
Hopkins.
Right, and we saw Hopkins got frustrated when he wasn't getting the opportunities. Now, he still saw plenty.
Absolutely.
He still got his, but you could tell towards the end of the game he was getting frustrated when he body slammed that guy and everything else because the coverage, I think, was just getting to him.
Yeah.
So, and
Well, that's
Jalen
what happens
Ramsey's gonna
that's what happens
all
when you're
day.
the best. Yeah.
right. So, if you thought Lattimore was going to be chirping in your ear, Jalen Ramsey's volume is going to be even louder. So,
Right.
who's the bad in this one for you?
Jacksonville's defense and special teams.
Okay.
I'm just saying, two years ago, everybody loved Jacksonville's defense. They were averaging like 15, 18 points a game. That's not this defense.
The train's gone.
No, it's gone. The Chiefs did some work against them boys last week.
Yes.
And now they got to come visit Houston. They got just as much offensive firepower, if not more.
Yeah.
Hopkins, Fuller, Stills, Hyde, and Duke Johnson. I think if you can play any of those guys, go ahead. Just my opinion.
No, I agree. I think even Stills, like you said, Stills was a surprise play. I mean, I didn't expect him to do much, but he actually looked really good
Well,
out there.
Cutie wasn't in the game. He's going to come back and be the slot guy, but I mean, Stills caught that, what was it, 60-yard, whatever touchdown, 70-yard
Oh,
touchdown?
he just let it rip. So I agree. I think this is a good game. I think we're just looking at, man. I think that we're just going to see some sort of offensive firepower out of the Texans that we saw last week, and it's just going to continue on.
I don't know what we're going to get from that rookie out of Jacksonville.
See, that's who I put as the ugly because if you're quarterback, maybe you got a Sam Darnold now that you're looking at it.
Yeah, now you got to scramble.
Scramble. And this guy's a starter, and he actually looked really good against the team last week with Kansas City. Now, I know it's Kansas City's defense doesn't say much, but he went, I think he went 12 of 15 or something like that. I mean, he was almost perfect, which is unheard of for a rookie quarterback coming in.
Mid-game.
Right. So I think I think this Gardner Minshew, he's just got a swag about him. And I think I don't want to say it's Baker-esque, but he definitely carries himself with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And he's got that Fu Manchu mustache going. I mean, he's just living the high life right now. And I think he's got nothing to lose. Nobody's kicking him out of that starting
Right.
quarterback spot now.
Yeah.
He's not battling with anybody. So why not just go out there and let it ride?
They did trade for Josh Dobbs, I think, but I mean, yeah, exactly.
No eyebrows, but anyways.
Maybe he can let him borrow his Fu Manchu.
Yeah, for those eyebrows. No, but I just think I'm not saying bank on Gardner Minshew to be like in the 20 points range, but a 12 to 14 point range, especially if you're having to scramble off of waivers last minute now for if you had Nick Foles or if you have Sam Darnold. I mean, to think, what if your quarterbacks were Nick Foles and Sam Darnold?
Well, first of all, you were hurting. Second of all, yeah, I mean, a lot of people like to play Monday night guys. Sam Darnold's Monday night this week. So now you got to scramble to the waiver wire or try to make a trade I mean, he's not a bad streamable quarterback, I guess.
No, I'm not saying, and that's why I put him as regular. I'm just saying if you're in a pinch and your waiver wire is really thin at quarterbacks and you have to play him, or even if you're in a 2 QB league, this is perfect.
Yeah, you're not going to get, 18, 25 unless he just blows up.
Right.
I like your 12 to 15 ranges.
I think that's a comfortable spot for him. So, all right, next game, Chiefs at the Raiders. The good in this one, Sammy Watkins. He's got until Tyreek Hill returns, he expects Watkins is going to be the wide receiver 1 in this offense. And on top of it, the Raiders secondary, Garyon Conley left with a neck injury, and
scary.
I don't know. They said he's okay. I don't know if he's really going to play this week. So
I haven't heard. Yeah,
they haven't said yes or no.
Right.
So I'm banking on the side of no, but I think Sammy Watkins. I think until Tyreek Hill comes out there, he's going to see the volume.
If he can stay healthy and do what he did, the run after the catch like he did this
Lame
week.
Cheetah was out there rolling through.
He wasn't looking too lame out
No.
there.
But I still think it's a matter of time until Sammy Watkins gets hurt. But I do agree with him. I do think that Sammy Watkins is a great play this week.
Must start.
So, especially with that. And I would go, who was your ugly in this one?
My bad was Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter Renfrow. Okay. So, just real quick to pair off, I think McCole Hardman's not a bad play this week as a flex either.
Yeah.
So, anywhere you can get in that Chiefs offense is going to be good. So,
Well, Tyrell Williams showed out.
yeah.
He did. He looked like the number one guy. Ryan Grant got in the mix. Darren Waller got in the mix.
Oh, yeah.
So Hunter Renfrow, everybody's assuming, he's going to be the next guy up. I don't know. He only had 2 targets. So I don't know. And even Jacobs showed up in the passing game.
And you're a Renfrow, let's just be honest, you're a Renfrow guy.
I do like Hunter Renfrow, but right now you have Waller, Grant, Tyrell Williams, and Jacobs all getting passes. I just don't know how he's going to go around.
It's just not, his opportunities haven't come to fruition yet.
Right.
So I think that's a good spot for him to be in a bad this week until we can kind of figure out this offense kind of gets a little bit more going and see exactly what we're looking at. But for me in this one, the ugly, Derek Carr. And it's not because I think Derek Carr is bad. Dude balled out. I think that this offense, the Chiefs' defense is not good. We've seen it. It's not really a good defense, and they've given up.
A rookie quarterback came in there and threw 200 on him.
Right. So, to me, Derek Carr, as long as they are protecting him.
Which they did a good job.
Right. I think the Chief offense is going to be scoring. I don't know how much, because I think the Raiders' defense is better, and they are seeing pass rushing ability. I just don't know how long they can stay on the field safely without giving up a ton of touchdowns. Eventually, the floodgates are going to open.
Yeah. Well, their best game plan is to keep the chains moving and keep Mahomes on the bench.
Right. Now, it is in Oakland, so I think that bodes well for the Raiders a little bit because the black hole is going to make lots of noise. They're going to be loud, and they're going to be angry people like they always are. So, but for me, Derek Carr in that 17 to 19 range, I don't think it's a bad spot to be in for points-wise. And I think that he's going to have to put points on the board to stay in this game. So, something else?
Yeah, I just said Sam Darnold may miss multiple games now because of this.
Mono's no joke. No joke. I never got mono, but I know that it was a big thing in high school. So,
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So Derek Carr for me, I think the ugly, and I think it's not a bad thing. It's just. He could bottom out this week, but I think that the offense, Gruden seems to be managing him pretty well and in his ear about how we're going to go do this. And it's Josh Jacobs, Tyrell Williams, and Darren Waller. Whew.
That's what I say. Derek Carr has an offensive line, and he has a run game now.
Yes,
That's gonna better him.
I agree. So, all right, Bears at the Broncos. Good in this one for Trevoli is Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
Another defense, tough against the rush, which means they're going to have to pass the ball. So he believes that Robinson's going to see the type of volume and opportunities that he saw in Week 1 against the Packers. And I think that's what you're going to have to see because I'm not expecting the Broncos to put a ton of points on the board, but I do think that Trubisky's going to try to bounce back offensively. And I think Allen Robinson was the main guy. So in an offense, if you can, get the number one wide receiver early and often. So I don't have a problem with him. I would say Allen Robinson somewhere in that 10 to 12 fantasy points this week, I think it's a comfortable spot for him.
Yeah.
Might be more, might be less.
I mean, Broncos struggled against the Raiders.
This is true.
So now they got to play the Bears. I understand it's at Mile High.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But my bad for this one's Phillip Lindsay.
Yeah.
Bears are ranked third against the run. They held Aaron Jones to a whopping 4.9 points in Week 1.
Yeah. Just so we're all aware, the bet was Phillip Lindsay versus Aaron Jones, correct?
Yes.
And at this point, Aaron Jones has got, 9.4 fantasy points to 4 point...
No, 4.9.
Who had 4
Aaron Jones got 4.9.
Correct. And then Phillip Lindsay had
Lindsay had
9.3 or 9.4. So at this point,
You are the
you are the
But now he's got to play the Bears.
Oh, well.
But Aaron Jones playing the Vikings. I mean,
This is true.
we'll
So
see.
For me in this one, the ugly is David Montgomery. And I think it's just because the opportunity is the opportunity was there. They showed that they were trying to get him involved. He saw more snaps. He saw more opportunities. It just never really translated to points.
If he would have caught some of them deep passes by Trubisky, his point total would have been way different.
Right. I just think that, yes, Mike Davis came in and blew it up. He was the one that got less opportunities, but also he translated it to points.
Capitalized.
Where I think David Montgomery is going to get that opportunity because the Broncos defense, I'm not high on them after seeing the Raiders roll through them.
Yeah, they're not the
I thought that pass rush was going to be something, and they really didn't even touch Derek Carr.
no.
So I think David Montgomery is going to be a lot of checkdowns, a lot of swing passes, and I think that they're going to try to come out early and often and try to punch these guys right in the mouth and move down the field and try to be aggressive like Josh Jacobs did and just run through these guys early and often to wear them down. So I've got David Montgomery in that 9 to 10 fantasy points, and I think that's going to go to a balance of rushing yards, receiving yards, and receptions. I don't know if he gets a touchdown, but I think he's got the opportunity. If he gets a touchdown, he could be in the 15 to 16 range, but I'm banking on no touchdowns, more so rushing, receiving yards, and receptions. So, the good in the next game, it's the Saints at the Rams.
That's tough.
He's got Jared Cook. Saints being loaded at offense. Rams can't stop everybody, obviously. And the big thing is they ranked near the bottom defensively last year, as well as obviously the start this year against the tight end. So
He's a mismatch for any linebacker they have.
they got away from him in that game against Houston because I think they were getting into a shootout and they had to continually move the ball down the field. They couldn't wait to dink and dunk. They had to move it. They had to get Kamara out in space. They had to use Michael Thomas.
Ted Ginn got involved.
Right. They were trying to move this ball down the field quickly because they were knowing that Houston was getting ready to put the points back on the board.
Yep.
So I think Jared Cook will be used more so in this offense this week, and I think the opportunity is there, and I agree with your boy. I think this is a good play. If you had to pick one guy not out of the main characters in this game, I think it's a good spot. So who's the bad in this one for you?
Quarterback Drew Brees.
Ooh.
He played mediocre. They played mediocre outside of the dome anyway.
Right.
So now they're going up against the number 2 defense against quarterbacks. The same Rams defense held Cam Newton to, 5.3 points?
Yeah.
And that was in Carolina, so now they're at home.
Yeah.
I'll take my chances with LA in this one. I don't think Drew Brees is going to have a good game.
I think he's going to struggle, and if he does do a substantial amount of points, I think a lot of it's going to come into garbage time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the Rams are going to run over the Saints and just blow them out.
No,
but
they're going to make it hard for him.
oh yeah, they're going to make Drew Brees work to get these yards. It's not going to be chunk play. They're going to make him earn everything, and this pass rush is going to be no joke again.
Yeah.
So I hope
Aaron Donald back here.
I hope those boys are ready to go because Aaron Donald and all these guys are coming. So
I like Kamara in this one a lot.
I like Kamara, and to piggyback off that, I actually have Latavius Murray as the ugly in this one. I think that the run game is going to be heavily relied upon in this game to get the ball.
Traditional run game
As well. So I think we're looking at a potential ground and pound type game early and often, try to wear down that defensive front, honestly. So I think Latavius Murray being in that 8 to 10 fantasy points is not a too far off. I mean, they used him in that game. It just came down to
He busted out a 30-yard touchdown.
right. So I think that this is a comfortable spot for him to be in again against the Rams defense because I think they're going to have to chip away at this defense to get really going. So, and then the Sunday night game, Eagles at the Falcons. He's got Calvin Ridley as his good in this one. Matt Ryan's at home. Obviously means ball will be thrown around. Ball's going to be out quick, and they're going to be they're going to do better. Offensively, the Matt Ryan does better at home in the dome. So I think they're going to show a better performance overall than what you saw from previous last week.
Right.
I think the offense is going to be better, and I think that's where Tripoli's going with Calvin Ridley. So, who is the ugly in this one for you? Or not the ugly, the bad in
The
this
bad
one?
is either Jordan Howard or Miles Sanders.
Whew.
And the reason I say that is because they started the game.
Yes.
And they split.
Yes.
And Darren Sproles actually tied Sanders for the most touches with 11.
Right.
And he had the most fantasy points out of all three backs, 11.3.
Yeah.
I think the game script in this one could potentially favor a shootout.
Yeah.
And I like the Darren Sproles opportunity more than I like the other two in the passing game.
Yeah, I mean, I put Miles Sanders initially in the ugly when I was doing my notes and stuff, but then as I looked through it, I'm like, this game could be a high-scoring game. I don't know what the defense, because the Eagles' defense, even against the Redskins' offense, looked suspect that first half for sure, and they really didn't. I mean, yeah, the Redskins kind of stalled offensively in the second half.
They got not complacent, but they just what's the word I'm looking for? They Jim Trustled it. They run, punt, and then the Eagles just caught up.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Right. So, and I just think that for me, the ugly in this one is D-Jax. I think opportunity is going to be there.
Yeah. I mean,
you saw it went early and often. So, I just think that's what we're looking at. So,
he's a boomer bust guy for sure. But when he's booming, he's really booming.
I mean, I think his floor is somewhere between 7 to 9 fantasy points, but I think he could potentially see a big touchdown.
25.
I mean, he could be up in that 20-point, I think, or he could be down in the 10 points.
And this is at Falcons, right?
Yeah, it's in a dome.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Now, I saw we missed this one. Cowboys at the Redskins.
I put it in here. Put it last.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Cowboys at the Redskins.
We're just gonna say Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Dak Prescott's the good one in this one. I don't think you can put him anywhere else other than that.
It's at Washington. I know that, but you watch what D-Jax did. Alshon Jeffrey got involved in the passing game. And if the Cowboys can play anything like they did, Zeke's going to probably get more touches this week.
A little bit more involved.
And he always has good games against Washington, it
Right.
seems like. Fire up Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Now, who's the bad one in this one for you?
For Redskins?
Or in general? Yeah, the Redskins Cowboys in this one.
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
Look, and the only reason I say that is because he had a breakout game, 5 catches, 125 yards. A lot of that came on the 70-yard touchdown, okay? He is fast. He's technically our number 2, but could be number 1. He was among the top percentage of waiver wire ads this week, and everybody's going nuts, but I'm going to say pump the brakes. Dallas is number 8 against wide receivers. I understand it's at our place, but Dallas is going to be targeting in on that.
I would say Dallas' defense is playing aggressive, and I think it's that I don't want to say it's not. I can't remember the defensive coordinator guy that came over from Seattle, but since he came through, they've changed it's not a cover 2 defense anymore. It's not a sit on your heel. It's an aggressive defense with those linebackers. They're flying all over the place, and they've got talent in the secondary finally.
Right. And last time I checked, Trent Williams still hasn't reported. So I think the pass rush is going to be on for Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good.
For me in this one, the ugly is Michael Gallup. And it's not because I think Michael Gallup is a bad play in this one. I just think Amari Cooper is going to get his. Zeke's going to get his. I think that he's going to be the third option in this offense.
I even like Randall Cobb.
I was just say I almost put Gallup/Cobb, but I think that Gallup is the more prevalent name that you're going to probably be looking at your rosters. I just think whether you play Cobb or Michael Gallup, I think you're going to have an opportunity to see double-digit fantasy points.
Yeah, we struggle.
Norman's going to be on Cooper.
He don't travel though. That's the thing. So,
Right.
So he's going to see him. Our wide receiver 2, Quentin Dunbar, is kind of like banged up. So we got a rookie out there on him. It could be ugly.
Yeah, I just think that Michael Gallup, he showed that he's kind of taken that leap into the second-year receiver. I mean, I said last year I thought towards the second half of the year he looked really good. And I think with this offensive line protecting and keeping Dak Prescott upright and just letting him basically, I don't want to say Tom Brady it, but essentially just sit back in the pocket and
I mean,
Pitch and catch.
That's what it looked
Pitch
like.
and catch. Pitch and catch. So
That's what it looked like. I had never seen a Dallas offense look like that recently.
No, I think it
And
was
I
like the
kind of
90s.
mad that I had to watch it.
Right. So Michael Gallup for me is the ugly in this one. And now we go into the Monday night game. So I know that when Trimboli did his notes, obviously the Sam Darnold news had not come out. So the good he had initially was Jamison Crowder. I still think even in a young quarterback, he's going to want to take some short shots. He's not going to want to be down the field throws.
No, I still think Crowder's the good one to play because it's going to be dink and dunk for sure now.
Yes. Now
you're going to play Bell.
You're going to play Bell. Now, who is the bad one in this one for you?
For me, and it was actually Sam Darnold. Because it came out he was dealing with strep throat.
Yeah.
He left practice early. A lot of dink and dunks. I think he had 28 completions, but for only 175 yards, which means he wasn't getting it down the field.
Right.
I mean, what? Crowder had 14 catches. Brown's secondary isn't bad. They're 8th best against quarterbacks, but I don't know. Now with Darnold not playing, I mean,
all bets are off.
Yeah, I mean.
And for me, the ugly in this one, I think that we are looking at what? Another breaking news?
Yeah, for Jets again.
Who's sick now?
Le'Veon Bell to get MRI on his shoulder. He will not practice Thursday due to shoulder soreness, and the Jets are unsure of his status for Monday night.
Man, it just keeps rolling.
You know what? Just unload all the Jets right now.
Now, for me in this one, I think that with a young quarterback potentially coming in, and Trevor Siemian, who is afraid of his own shadow, I kind of put the Browns' defense as a ugly, streamable.
Well, now I definitely do.
Right. Well, I was saying, when it was Sam Darnold, I initially put in, I forget how I had, but anyways, once I heard this news, I kind of changed it up. Browns' defense is a streamable defense this week.
Absolutely.
Monday Night Football with that Monday Night Magic against a suspect, afraid of your own shadow quarterback and Trevor Siemian.
And potentially no Le'Veon Bell.
Potentially no Le'Veon Bell.
So you're going to have, what, Ty Montgomery out there? And
I still think Bell is a last-minute game thing. I mean, you'll have to wait till probably Friday or Saturday to for sure see what he does. MRI is a concerning thing in the shoulder, but for me, the fact that he's got a shoulder, and they're not saying it's a clavicle or anything, and they say it's a shoulder issue, they can always put pads on that. They can always give shots. They can always do all that stuff.
Well,
that's a little bit easier.
But for me, they're already saying they're unsure of his status. That's alarming.
True. I mean,
because you don't want to put him out there and then he gets blasted.
Right. I will tell you, though, what's more concerning to me is the fact that there's mono now in the Jets locker room.
Definitely not good.
No, because any water fountains, any water bottles you shared with Sam Darnold, all those guys that shared a water bottle with Sam Darnold the last like 48 hours are like, oh gosh. So I'm just saying because it's a bad day.
But I do like your point with the Browns defense. If you're streaming defenses, you're one of those guys, go pick up Cleveland.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. That was all. That rolled through pretty quickly. But yeah, definitely. If you got Le'Veon Bell, maybe go get Ty Montgomery if you're really needing another running back. If not,
Luke Falk is the Jets' backup quarterback now.
Oh, even worse. I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, he was a rookie like 2 years ago.
Anyways,
get that Browns defense.
So, all right. Anything else?
That's it, man. I was looking forward to this week.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on the podcast side, the YouTube video side as well. If you're on DATV as well, podcast on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification so you get let yourself know when a new show drops. So, the hateful8ff.com, you can go visit. You've got your articles and then apparel as well. And then, like we said, if you go to patreon.com and then search the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast, you can get your weekly in-season projections, whatever the scoring type, $10 a month. So, and then you can follow us on Twitter at JPickleTH8FF. You can follow Blackburn at JBlackburnTH8FF. And you can follow Trimboli at FTrimTH8FF. And then the podcast handle as well is at the Hateful8FF. So, that's all we got. Good luck this week, and hopefully, if your team struggled in week 1, your team gets better in week 2.
Like we said, it's going to take a minute for some of these guys that didn't even play in the preseason to get their rust off. Week 3, week 4, week 5 is when you'll start seeing what your team really is.
Right. All right. We'll see you guys next week.